Do you know what your biggest enemy is in Forgotten Grounds? It's the sunlight. Yes, you heard me right. Because your character has a severe sun allergy, and sun itself is your greatest threat in this game. Initially, I was planning to make the sanity mechanic the main feature of the game. However, its effects were only becoming noticeable in the late game. Also, if a player was good enough to keep their sanity high, they would never really feel or see the consequences. So I knew the game required a feature that would affect the player from day one and change the core loop significantly. My main focus here is to subvert the player's expectations regarding day and night, as well as good and bad weather. If you go out on a clear, sunny day, the sun will burn your flesh. But if you step outside at night or during rainy or cloudy weather, you can wander around safely from the sun. But the catch? The walls will be much more dangerous at night. In the future, I will also be adding a cold meter. This means if you go out on a rainy day, you won't be affected by the sun, but you will slowly freeze and lose health. Essentially, every single choice you make will come with some level of risk. I'm not planning to make the game too difficult, but I believe this mechanic makes the core loop much more engaging and fun to play. There are still some ways to survive the daylight. You can step into the shadows of objects to block the sunlight, which will decrease your sun exposure depending on the difficulty level. But here is the cool part. The shadows cast by objects change dynamically depending on the time of the day. You can see the shadow hitboxes of trees on the screen. Between 6 and 10 am, the left shadow box will be active. From 10 am to 2 pm, the middle shadow box takes over, and between 2 and 7 pm, the right shadow box gets enabled. Later on, I will also add specific items to help you avoid the sun, like umbrellas and special clothing. Of course, the best way to avoid the sun is to stay indoors and only go out during bad weather or at night. But be careful, staying indoors for too long will introduce the risk of cabin fever. Since I added the sun allergy mechanic, I felt there was no need to make the sanity system too frustrating to deal with. Originally, the longer you survived, the less effective sanity restoring features and items would become. I decided to remove that feature as the sun allergy system is already adds a solid layer of difficulty to the core loop. However, your sanity will still drain faster the longer you survive. Since there weren't many ways to restore sanity, I added some new items to the game, antidepressants and 3 types of readable books. You can read books up to 20 in-game hours and each hour read will restore a small amount of sanity. Antidepressants increase your sanity by 30% instantly, but after 2 hours when their effect ends, your sanity will drop by 25%. So you should really save them for emergencies. In my previous dialogue, I mentioned that I was planning to add new interactable objects to the map, but instead I decided to focus on general polishing, bug fixes and quality of life improvements. For example, you can now sort your inventory items by quality or weight, double click to use them faster, and categorize them to easily find whatever you are looking for. I also added a small intro scene to the game. You will have the option to skip it when starting a new run. Because of the new Allergy system, I also had to update dialogue at the end of the demo to reflect the new lore. And lastly, I finally implemented the structure of the game's tutorial. I will publish a full showcase video once it's completely done. I just need a wall sprite and build the enemy AI system to finish the tutorial section. And that's all for today's devlog. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please don't hesitate to share your feedback and recommendations about the new features in the comments. Thank you for following the development of Forgotten Grounds. See you in the next one.